Okay, so today's masterclass, we are going to be talking about the 4 unexpected reasons you're burnt out and how to fix them. I'm still waiting to see if I am live or not. Hold on. I am now live. Great. Thank you for letting me know. Okay, so again, today we're going to be talking about the 4 things, the 4 reasons why you're burnt out and how to fix them. And I'm just going to be honest, right? What I have to say sometimes is it's kind of taken lightly because we don't really understand the signs and symptoms of burnout. But if you've ever been there before, or if you're feeling this kind of it, like malaise, lethargy, apathy towards your business, or even just life in general, that is those are some of the symptoms of burnout. So, right, again, I'm here to point out entrepreneurial burnout is real, but the reasons why they happen might surprise you. That's what it's called. 4 unexpected reasons. Okay, so let's take this survey real quick and just comment in the chat if this is you. So also, if you're watching now, if you're watching the replay, comment #replay and let me know if you are watching the replay. So number 1, did you start your business, with a lot of passion and enthusiasm, but now you feel like you have way less excitement, motivation, and energy, right? Just type a 1 in the chat if that's you. Number 2, are you mentally or physically exhausted? Right? It's like when you find it's almost impossible to get things done, that you're kind of like just dragging like it's molasses. And at worst, that you don't even really care anymore about your business. You're like, should I be here? Should I not be here? And still doing this thing, still, trying to run this business. So comment number 2, if that symptom is you. Number 3, do you feel on edge? Like you're working in your business, you're getting great results, but yet when you're working in your business, you feel on edge, you feel anxious, and a lot of times you feel overwhelmed to get everything done. And then number 4 is apathy, right? Do you feel apathetic? And apathetic just means like you just don't have the energy. And it's similar to quiet quitting. I'm going to talk about quiet quitting in a second. If you haven't heard about the words quiet quitting, I'll explain more about what that means. But yeah, so if you had 1, 2, 3, 4, or all of the above, then you are in the right place. And I'm just here to say that burnout is rampant in the entrepreneurial space. There's a lot of buzz talking about burnout in the corporate space, right? And how to set your boundaries and all of that in the corporate space. But when it comes to the entrepreneurial world, it's really widely misunderstood. And contrary to popular belief, it's not just being tired because you're working too much, right? And it's not just the physical feeling of exhaustion, although, right, that's part of it. And we're going to talk about how energy transmutates from, out here, the thoughts, actions, and beliefs, and how it manifests into physical symptoms. So just for those of you who are not familiar with burnout and all, what the definition of burnout is. So according to the WHO, 3 main symptoms of burnout are feelings of energy depletion or exhaustion, number 1. So if you feel that, type a 1 in the comments. Number 2, increased mental distance from one's job or feeling negative towards your business. Or right. So a lot of times the HWO doesn't recognize, like at the moment, entrepreneurial burnout. So this is the definition for corporate burnout. So so this is the definition of quiet quitting, when people are mentally distancing themselves from the job, right? They're showing up physically to the job, but in their mind, they're like, I'm not really feeling it. I'm not here anymore. So, type two, if that's how you feel about your business right now, that you're going through the motions every day, but you're like, I don't really know anymore, Kai. I'm like, I don't really know. Number three, reduced productivity. So where you used to be really enthusiastic, you used to get a lot of things done. A lot of times in entrepreneurship, you call it procrastination. But what procrastination is really a reduction of our productivity, right? Because there's things that we have to do in our businesses. And for those of us who prefer just coaching, consulting, or doing the thing that we love to do, all of the marketing, sales, and all of that just feels really icky to us. And we end up procrastinating on it because of that ickiness. So, again, number one, energy depletion or exhaustion, type one in the chat. Number two, increase mental distance from your what you're doing in your business, type two. And number three, reduced productivity slash procrastination. So type three, if that is you. So yes, being tired is a part of burnout, but it's not even close to the entire picture. And if burnout is not checked, like how it was with me, like when I was in my corporate job and I finally got diagnosed, I would I was on the really low end of the spectrum for my cortisol levels. And I have a health coaching background. So if you want to know more about cortisol, just type in the chat or DM me later and I will tell you all about cortisol. But how it shows up in our businesses is, like I said, business apathy, right? Quiet quitting. And it's one thing to quiet quit in corporate, but it's another thing to quiet quit on yourself and in your own business. And then we get involved in this desperate decision making, right? We're out here, like, oh my gosh, I'm low on cash flow this month. Like, let's do a launch, and then you keep pushing and pushing and pushing these launches, but the decisions that you're making are based on desperation and not like profitable planning. Okay. And then it can also show up as depression. And like the winter months, they're typically known.
Darker now, and there's not a lot of sunlight, and so we're not getting that vitamin D exposure that we need in order to increase the happy chemicals in our body. So, right, depression is a thing in the winter, and then there's also heart disease that that can occur when these, like it goes from like the mental space, and then the more we think about things, it really starts affecting our physical body. So it can manifest into heart disease and other stress related diseases. And again, disclaimer, like, I am a health coach, but I'm not a doctor. So take that medical stuff with a grain of salt. Um, okay, where am I? Oh, so Harvard Business Review. They did a study, and they did a pilot test group for burnout, and it's estimated that at least 20% of entrepreneurs are currently experiencing burnout. So that's not including the people who really don't know the signs and symptoms of burnout, but 28% of the entrepreneurial population said, yes, I am experiencing burnout in that study. So that's a lot of us entrepreneurs out here that are feeling burnt out. So if you're wondering if you are burnt out, right, or you're just tired, or if you're struggling with something that's a lot worse, like actual depression, right? So if you are experiencing depression, again, go seek professional help, because I guess coaching and therapy are totally different modalities. And so yeah, go seek the professional help of a doctor who's certified to take care of medical depression. But yeah, so this class today is really going to help you to gain clarity on how you might unknowingly be contributing to your own burnout and your exhaustion, the apathy and overwhelm that comes with the burnout. And so today I'm going to be giving you 4 tips on how to, like, one, figure out if you are in burnout, and then two, how to ease yourself out of burnout if that's what you're feeling. Okay. The good news though, right? It's like this whole intro kind of feels like a Debbie Downer, but the good news is when you have the clarity on why you're burnt out, because today we're going to talk about the why behind the what. Yes, it's good to define the what about burnout, but the why behind the burnout is what you're going to figure out today. And then also give you some tips on how to fix it and how you can heal from the burnout, because I did, and how you can start loving your business again. Because nothing is worse than, trying to work and run a business that you're not in love with, because, people can feel it. Your clients can feel it. Potential clients online can feel it. Your marketing will shift when you're down that slippery slope, and it just becomes this negative spiral when you're dealing with these burnout issues. Okay, so let's just start with number 1. The number 1 unexpected reason why you're burnt out is you're working with the wrong clients. And I mean, there's people that say best fit client and then bad fit client. So, right, you can call it whatever you want, but basically the clients that you're working with that don't really light you up, that aren't aligned with who you are and like who you're called to serve, those clients can really drain your energy. And a lot of times, as coaches, consultants, service providers, we will like we've like our clients are paying our salaries, right? And a lot of times when we have that people pleasing mentality, we over deliver, we're over givers, and we really pour our hearts out for our clients. And if you haven't taken the burnout archetype quiz, that archetype specifically is the philanthropist who cares more about people than the money. So the philanthropist tends to be that like over deliverer, over giver. um yeah. And right when we're living that feast or famine, entrepreneurial roller coaster, it it really becomes like a catch 22 of, well, I need to just get a client, right? I need to get a client so that I don't feel like I suck at business and like I'm not going down this slippery slope. So there's all of that too. I mean, I'm raising my hands. Raise your hands or just comment yes in the chat if you felt this way. That if you felt this way. My puppy is getting anxious. And I'll say burnout, you're more susceptible to burnout if you work mostly with one-on-ones, right? If you're in a group coaching container, there's a level of separation that you can maintain between you and your clients because you're in like a group coaching container. But right when it's just you, another person, especially if you're an empath or a feeler, you will feel all of their energy. And especially for those of us who, take everything on and feel everything, right? There's an extra burden that we have because of that. So, right, working with the wrong types of clients, especially for those who are highly empathic, is a recipe for burnout. So that's number 1. And if you're following along, just let me know. Just yeah, type number 1 in the chat if you've ever experienced that or you're currently experiencing working with the wrong types of clients. So number 2, your prices and your offers are totally unaligned. And we're not really talking, so there's 3 different aspects to that, right? Offering the wrong thing, right? Your offer doesn't really align with who you are, how you want to show up in the world. So there's that piece. But then there's also the wrong prices, right? Because the offer consists of two things. It consists of like what you're delivering, right? Like what does your coaching program entail and all of that. But it, right, the other part of our offers is the pricing. Like, are we priced properly? And we're going to go to pricing in a little bit, but I really want to stick on offers. So a lot of times I've helped clients with their offers. That's one of the things that I did as a launch manager, right? We would talk about our offer, my client's offer, and talk about, what she's offering, who she's serving, and because it really drives the copy, it drives the creative, the graphics and all of that. It The offer drives everything, like all of the marketing that's happening. So if you're feeling like you're burnt out on social media and you just feel like I'm doing a lot and not getting a lot of return, one is your offer is probably not solid, right? You're not solid about exactly what you want to offer, or you may know what you want to offer, but there's other pieces in there that you're not exactly sure, like how to deliver it, or like your onboarding sequence. Just it's not like 100% solid, and that will lead to anxiety and burnout and these open loops in our brains, right? So having that open loop in your brain is like having too many tabs open, right? If you have too many open loops on your brain, hold on. I have a heater because it's very cold today. Just turn the heater off because my buns are on fire. Um, so wait, where was I? Um, okay, so going back to your offer, is what you're offering, like, does it make sense for you and your unique personality, right? Does it make sense with your archetype? That's number one. So if you haven't taken the Burnout Archetype Quiz, go to burnoutarchetypequiz.com and you'll get a I guess a readout about your personality type and how it shows up in your business, and a couple of steps on how to really shore up those gaps. Is it there? And that's the thing that I want to address. Like, if you are a certain archetype, there's nothing wrong with it. We all have different personality types, but when we're looking at our unique personality type, we have to make sure that our marketing efforts are aligned with that personality type. For instance, the popular archetype likes doing lives, and you know we love being in front of people. We can talk all day. We love verbal processing. And on the flip side, I would say the perfectionist, she's more comfortable sitting behind the computer, probably writing, like writing a sales page or writing posts and selling that way. Not to say that she can't show up live and do a live stream, but she feels more comfortable that way because there's a greater sense of control, right? Because I've said these words now. I can't go back and hit the backspace bar on this live because we're live. But if a perfectionist is writing a post, it's easier for her to feel like she has more control over her marketing in that sense, because she can edit and like she can really fine tune everything before she posts it online, before she sends out an email, things like that. So if you know your archetype, then it's easier it's really easier to market and really show up in your business once you understand your archetype. Yeah, so again, make sure your offer aligns with your personality type, and then pricing, right? A lot of times, for those of us who have created our offers, the pricing is the hardest part. The pricing is always the hardest part because, for one, For those of us who have issues with imposter syndrome, we're not sure exactly how to price ourselves in the market, and we underestimate the value that we're providing, and then so there's the undercharging issue. So sometimes we undercharge because, right, we don't value what we have to offer, and we don't understand truly what our expertise is and how much value it has in the world. So that's where marketing research comes in. Um, but when we do undercharge, this is where the burnout piece comes in. It comes in when we feel resentful because we have undercharged and we're showing up, we're over delivering, and then we feel resentful because, like, oh my gosh, so this client only paid X amount of dollars, and I've worked with high ticket, I've worked with low ticket, and the people who pay the lower ticket, I'll just say they fall into the not a great fit client category because I I'm still researching on what it is, and I'm not the only one who talks about it. But the people who are used to paying a premium, um, are they're just easier to get along with. They're used to paying a premium price, and they expect a premium service, but there's a certain level of professionalism that happens in those higher price containers than the lower price containers. And like this is for you if you've launched a course or like had like a low ticket item for sale. A lot of times, right, there are more chargebacks, there are more refunds. Hold on. No, right. We have more refunds and chargebacks when we put our heart and soul into this course, and we over deliver in this course, and gosh, they only paid, I don't know, like a double digit number to get said course, and you find that you'll have a lot more problems with that level of client. Not saying that high ticket is better or worse, right? It just depends on the business model that you want to have, but undercharging can lead to resentment and more bad fit clients just because of the nature of the low ticket offers. Then on the flip side, right, when we are overpriced or we feel like um, if we feel comfortable at this price point and then we charge above that because w- a coach was like, well, you need to charge what you're worth, and so you price yourself at this amount, but you end up falling into this trap where it's like, okay, I'm charging this much, I do not feel worthy to charge this much, and therefore you're over delivering. It's like at an all-time high, and you feel like you owe it to your client to be there 24/7, to overwork. Um, like you find yourself online at 10 p.m. trying to put out fires for your client or whatever, or just always be on Voxer. If that's one of the things that you offer, like it's really hard for you to set boundaries when you don't feel worthy of charging the price that you are charging. So the goal here is to find a balance, right? You need to find a price point that feels good to you and in alignment with the value that you provide. So that's your sweet spot. And if you're like, Kylie, I really don't know. And if that pricing and that offer is what's getting in the way of you pushing, you know, putting yourself out online, then I'm going to be talking about the burnout recovery formula. And in that program, you're going to learn exactly how to build more balance in your business and in your bank account. And we're going to create like super solid, streamlined offers that you love, and therefore it's going to be easier for you to sell. So that was number two. Here's number three. And of course, this is going to be my favorite. You don't have clear systems and processes. And right, the back end of your business isn't very glamorous. It's just not, right? There's a lot of admin work. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we have to do, like bookkeeping. And I mean, it's not even the marketing stuff, but like managing your Asana, your project management, like managing your day to day schedule. Like those things are not sexy, but having that system and that process to manage it is what's going to free up your brain space in order to be creative. I talk about this a lot with my clients is we run through a time audit and I have them document every single thing that they're doing um, during the day. So here's a copy of mine where I listed everything that I'm doing today and like, I can see exactly how much white space I have. And a lot of times, clients who feel like I'm so busy, and I got nothing done. What's happening is in their time audit, they're not documenting every single little thing that they're doing. So, like, say you scroll on social media for half an hour, that's 30 minutes gone. But in your mind, you weren't doing anything. So right, that thirty minutes is unaccounted for. It's the same thing with time and money, right? I've talked about this before. The time audit is just like creating a budget, but for your calendar. So how it works is just like how you document everything that you spend, and then you look at your discretionary spending, like how many Starbucks runs did you do this month? And you right, you add that all up, it's like $5. My drinks at Starbucks are usually in the $7 range because I do the non-dairy option and all of that. So right, $7, $7, $7, $7. And how many and I really don't do Starbucks, but like how many of those did you do? And like you add that up, it's like, holy smokes, 7 times, however many times you went to Starbucks this month adds up real fast. Same way. If let's take it 7 minutes. 7 times, like say you just scroll for a little bit, right? 7 minutes, 7 minutes, 7 minutes, 7 minutes. Next thing you like right? So there, we'll just do 5 minutes then, right? 5 times 12, 60 minutes. So you just do a little 5 minutes here and there. That adds up to an hour if you did it 12 times during the day, right? And so yes, mindless scrolling, that's its own thing. But when we are working in our business, right? There's admin stuff that we have to do that is not a money making task, but it's necessary. Like the admin is necessary in your business. So if you can eliminate the busy work and the admin and streamline those processes to make your admin time shrink down, like that's what you want to do so that you can spend more time in your zone of genius, right? Because when you're sitting in front of a client, right, you're making money. When you're sitting behind your computer writing an email or social media post, that's the long game, right? That's not an active like money making. You will eventually make money, but in that time slot, you're not working, you're not making your money. That's all marketing. So a lot of times we think of marketing as, yes, it's something that we have to do, but is that really like just add up the hours that you spend on marketing tasks and the number of hours that you spend in client facing tasks. I would count this as it is marketing, but it's my face. So It's it's not in that gray area, it's more on the higher priority of the marketing tasks that it needs my face, so it's something that I need to do and it's not outsourceable. But the other things that don't require a face, like with a lot of my clients, actually all of my clients, like whatever we can eliminate, right? We automate, eliminate, delegate, right? The AED system. Automate, eliminate, delegate anything that does not require your face. That's my standard. That is my standard. And that's how we get to streamline systems and processes. And then once we get the system out of your brain and into an SOP, that's how we can start to outsource the things that you don't necessarily need to do, right? So I recently took over as president of a local ministry group here, um, in my town. And it- before the old president exited, I was like, let me pick your brain. I need to understand how you've been running this organization so that I can, I can lead the organization. So I was, right, a member of the board, but now I'm the president of the board and the local chapter. So it's a whole different, um, just a different ballgame, different process. So really understanding how she ran the local chapter was really important to me so that there would be a really seamless transition. And luckily, she's still involved with the group and the community, so I could still pick her brain on some of the SOPs that weren't fully fleshed out before she left. But yeah, that's like getting systems and processes out from my clients' brains onto paper so that we can, one, right, whoever you're giving the SOP to, they need to see your thought process behind it. And especially if you're working with overseas virtual assistants, recording videos, especially if there's a language barrier. I mean, my my assistants who live in the Philippines, they're they speak English very fluently. um so it doesn't really matter, but you know having them walk through your process as you're recording a video, it really helps them to see, like, why, if you're working on graphics or something for social media, like why you chose the color, why you chose the brand colors, um and they can see like how you're doing it, why you're doing it, all of those things. So that was number 3, having clear systems and processes, because you know me, I'm a systems girl. Number 4, Number 4 reason why you are burnt out is you're crossing your own boundaries. And again, boundaries is another buzzword, just like burnout is these days. And hold on one second. I've been talking a lot. Okay, so like, I don't know. Boundaries is a buzzword, and it feels like, ugh, especially for those of us who were very restricted when we were growing up. We're told, don't do this, don't do that. Um, we may have a rebellious streak, and we we balk at systems and processes because we feel more comfortable doing the non-structural thing, including setting boundaries. And while it's like, ugh, it might feel boring or whatever, you really need to have those boundaries and also maintain them. But if you're struggling with maintaining or keeping your boundaries, you probably don't have any that are solid. Does that make sense? And if and it doesn't even have to be written out, although being written out and creating a process around your boundaries really helps to make them stick. But if you're having a boundaries issue, one, is probably not clearly defined even for yourself. So there are times when you can swing this way and swing that way when it comes to boundaries. Like, say, if it's this person, then it's okay for them to step inside of my boundary, which I get it. Like, sometimes we need to do it, but even with our kids, our spouses, whatever, right? If we are trying to maintain and hold this boundary with our clients, but we allow other people to kind of permeate through those boundaries, then our brains are thinking, well, it's It's confusing us. It's confusing our brains. Like, well, it's okay sometimes, but it's not okay sometimes. So I'm training a puppy right now. And right, it's very important when you're training a puppy or even if you have a newborn, like working on the schedule and training and making sure that they know what's a yes and what's a no. It's the same thing for like yourself and your business. When you have an admin slot on your calendar, right? You stick to those. I guess your time blocks can move around and fluctuate, but when your brain knows that on this day, say on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. is when I record my podcast, then your body, can come into alignment with that schedule. Well, case in point, right? We're going into the holiday season, right? S- the boundaries that we normally hold on a work day or whatever, for those of us who like the boundaries or who like the regularity of schedule, right? There's a calming effect when we know exactly what's going to happen and when. But as the holidays approach, it starts with Thanksgiving. Like who's working, who's not working, like what's your schedule? As I'm recording my podcast right now and how it's going is um like some people like are still holding office hours in late December, some aren't. And some are like, well, no, I'm just booking in January. But it's good that they know their boundaries, they know when they're not working, and they're able to schedule the podcast recording according to what they've already set up. Um, yeah. So boundaries are for us, right? It's for us. And when we set boundaries, a lot of times people who are used to permeating our boundaries don't like it because right they're used to being on this side of the fence, and if you set the fence here, it's like what, like, and they get frustrated and they may get angry, resentful, whatever. A lot of negative emotions can pop up for the people on the other side of our boundaries, but we have to remember that boundaries are for us, right? And it's because we're very involved with our clients, whether you're group coaching or you're doing one-on-one coaching, right? A lot of us as coaches, we're highly empathic. So having that boundary and making sure we set and stick to those boundaries is super important. And it's just like building a muscle, right? The first time you go to the gym and you work out, that's what happened to me. I got a gym membership uh early or maybe third quarter, and right when I'm working muscles that I haven't worked before, they hurt, right? But the more that I've been going to the gym, the more that I've been staying consistent, the easier it is for my body to be used to working out that way. It's the same thing with your boundaries, right? The more consistent you are at maintaining and holding those boundaries, the easier they are to maintain. So, in the burnout recovery formula, we're going to go over these different types of boundaries that you need to set up for your business and how to get super clear on what those look like specifically for you, right? Because the whole the burnout recovery formula is built on the premise that we have four different archetypes. We have different personality types and the ways that we work, right? And so how you create boundaries really depends on your archetype and like what types of boundaries you set are also based on your archetype. So in the program, the burnout recovery formula in the program, we're going to figure out exactly, what those boundaries are, how to set them, and a step-by-step process on how to set them up and put them in place. So, uh, okay. So we've come to the end of the teaching points. Let me go over them again real quick. Number one, Number one, you're working with the wrong clients, right? They suck out your energy, they're hard to work with, and your price, number two, your prices and offers are totally unaligned. Not only what you're offering, but also the amount of money that you're charging, right? Undercharging causes resentment and bitterness and like negative feelings towards your client. Overcharging causes burnout because you're trying to over deliver because you don't feel worthy of what you're charging at that level. So you're really over delivering that point. Um, and then number three, you don't have clear systems and processes. My favorite, of course. And setting up the clear systems and processes leads to number four is how to maintain and set those boundaries. Because if you don't have any systems and processes for your business, you're not going to know what you're doing and when and how it's supposed to be done. So, therefore, it's going to be that much harder to set up the boundaries in your business. Okay. So, if you want to learn more about the burnout recovery formula, which is my latest course, you can go here. So you can go to kylieota.com/programs. You can read all about it on the sales page, everything that we're going to cover in that program. And let's see. So some of the stuff that we are going to cover in that program. So there, I don't know, I like fours. So there's four things that we're going to cover. Okay. So number one, you're going to define your dreamy ideal clients. And once you find those, you're going to be able to designate and ditch the nightmare clients for good, right? That's going to really help you manage those energy vampires that are sneaking into your business. Number two, you're going to build balance into your biz with having sleek and streamlined offers. I'll be honest, some of y'all doing too much. Here, there, that. What should I do? Like, I'm gonna do this. Da, 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 da. Right? A lot of you guys don't have that sleek, streamlined process from what I call